Okay guys, gonna start off where I left off last time with the letter M up to S. First one will be Martin, George Romero's early effort, zombie film. Oh, not zombie film, sorry. Vampire film. I don't know why I was thinking saying that. This is the Arrow DVD set with all the covers and that in, and poster and that. I know this is coming out soon by somebody else and they're releasing it on Blu-ray, so that should be quite interesting. It's an okay movie. I'm going to leave that one out. Makes it a little bit easier then for these. Right, next up, a weird one, this one, a weird box. Massacre at Central High. I always remember this one. Quite an old one now, must be at least 70s. Just don't seem to be able to get a decent release of this one. This is why this one's in that weird little, very thin box look. I must admit, I don't like them boxes like that, but you get what you get until somebody else does better. Next up is Midnight, put out on Arrow DVD. To be honest with you, I cannot remember this one very well, so I'm not going to say too much about it. Next up is Motel Hell. I like that one. This is the Arrow Blu-ray release. Seen this one on the big screen back in the day, to be honest. That's a good addition. It's going to be a good one. It's been put out by Arrow, you know it's going to be done pretty well. Next up is Mother's Day. This is put out by 88 on the Blu-ray, part of their slasher collection. Good movie. I quite like Mother's Day, to be honest with you. I've only seen it a couple of times, but I do like that movie. Pretty damn good. Next up is the shameless numbered edition for Mountain of the Cannibal God. I don't normally do them ones like that because this one is a little bit cut, but I did pick it up. I do have the full uncut European DVD as well of this one, but this is Ursula Andress one, also known as Slave of the Cannibal God. It's okay. It's not a fantastic one as far as the cannibal movies are concerned, but it's okay. Next is Miss 45, Abel Ferreira, same guy who did Driller Killer. I don't know if I pronounced his name right, but I always used to say MS 45, but some people call it Miss 45. Revenge movie about a lady what gets raped a couple of times and then she decides to start blowing people away. Hell of a lot better than Driller Killer, by the way. As you probably heard me say before, I'm not a fan of Driller Killer anyway, so it's a lot better than that. Murder Set Pieces, good movie, and this is the full uncut version as well, so pretty controversial, this movie. Still no UK release, and they just banned it outright. Probably even with cuts, they probably still banned it, but it's pretty gory in places, and it's got some really wicked scenes in this one. This is definitely one to look out for, bearing in mind there is an R-rated cut out there which is rubbish. You need to get the proper full director's cut version like I have there, and it's got some pretty nasty stuff in that one. Next up is the Arrow Blu-ray release for the Mutilator, which is okay, really good slasher. And they've done that one quite well actually, got a decent slip cover in that as well, so it's pretty good, that one. Next up is My Bloody Valentine, which is the US DVD release as the uncut, with all the footage cut out of it, put back into it. And this has recently gone out on Blu-ray as well in the States. I haven't picked that one up yet, but one I probably would in time. But it's a really good movie. Stay away from the cut versions because it's just rubbish, but the full uncut version is definitely well worth having. Next up, part of the 88 slasher collection, is the Blu-ray for Nail Gun Massacre. Terrible movie. horrible sounds in that. They just had this whiny sound all the way through the movie, and it's bloody terrible. So, I wasn't a fan of the movie anyway, so there you go. Arrow release of Necromancy 2. This is like the box one with all the stuff in. I've never watched it, not this particular version. I have seen the movie. Not a fan of the Necromantic movies, but I have got that particular one in that set. I will leave that one sealed. I shan't bother to watch it again, because I'm not really the sort of ones I like. Next up is Night School. Still hasn't got a UK release for some reason. This is the US DVD about a guy on a motorbike who likes chopping off heads. It's not too bad. I quite like this one actually. I remember when I picked this one up and I watched it, and I couldn't remember it from the old VHS ones, but it's pretty good. Next up is Lucio Fulci's New York Ripper. This is the Blue Underground Blu-ray release from the States, which I picked up when I was over there. Well, good movie, plenty of gore, so he's well worth having. Next up is another 88 from 88 Films, part of the Italian collection, is Night Train Murders. Pretty good. I like this one as well. Bit like a kind of like a Last House on the Left on a train, if you can call it that. But I don't mind that one. Pretty good. Next up is Nightmare City. This is the Arrow Blu-ray UK release. Not too bad. This is Umbrato Lenzi's movie. Pretty good. Quite funny in places, but it's well worth having, and I think Arrow did a pretty good job on this release. So I would definitely have that one in the collection. Next up is another shameless one, the fan edition for Phantom of Death. Not too bad. Got very many shameless ones, but this one's okay. I picked this one up and I quite like this one. Oh, that's Ruguro Deodato. That one who did that one. I just noticed that. Look. It's the same guy who did Cannibal Holocaust. So I didn't know he did that until I looked at it. Just goes to show I don't get them out very often. Next up is Wes Craven's People Under the Stairs. This is a good movie. Seen this on the big screen as well back in the day. This is the Arrow Blu-ray release, so you know it's going to be pretty damn good. But yeah, I like People Under the Stairs. Next on the list is I've got to think now. God, I'm not even thinking what I'm looking at. But yeah, Phenomenon. Anyway, yeah, this is the UK Blu-ray release. To be honest with you, I haven't stuck this on yet. It's because I had the DVD and I must have watched it recently and never put the Blu-ray on. Dario Argento's one of Dario Argento's movies, and yeah, I do like his movies, and that one is a definite for me. Next up is Pieces. It's a good one on like a campus with a guy on there with a chainsaw. Well worth having. I got the American 2 disc on this as well. This is the UK Arrow Blue release. It's still sealed. So I think the last time I watched it, I put the US DVD on. So I've yet to see the difference in quality, but well worth having. I do like Pieces. Next up is like on the 88 label with the slip sleeve. This is Pigs. Pretty good cover there. Look, you don't really see it like that, but it's okay. Not a bad one. Quite an old movie, but it's worth having. Next up is Phantasm. Excellent one. This is the another one by Arrow again. Look. Blu-ray UK release. Good movie. Quite an old one now. Probably about at least 1979, is it? I think something like that. I do like Phantasm. And there's the tall man on the front. Look. I've got a box set of Phantasm as well in the cupboard. I'll get to that at a later date. Next up is Possession, which was on the old 72 list when it was like on the band era. They have a weird cover on that one, look. Not the best of covers, is it? I think they could have come up with something a little bit better than that. Next up is Prowler. Excellent movie. The effects is done by Tom Savini, so you know damn well it's going to be good. Slasher movie and well worth having. I'm going to leave that one out actually so I can get these out easy. Next up is Pranks. This is the US uncut version on Snaps. Well worth having. Definitely, it's got some footage on there not seen before. Next is David Cronenberg's Rabid. Excellent one. One of my favorite, my second favorite of his. That's the Arrow release, so you know it's going to be pretty damn good. Next up is Revenge of the Bogeyman. This is a bootleg, still not available on DVD or anything, so I just got a bootleg of that. Next up is Umbrato Lenzi's Sacrifice, also known as Man from Deep River. This is the US Blu-ray uncut, so well worth having. Next up is Return to Sleepaway Camp. I think it's the fourth one in the series. Can't remember it very well, but it's an okay movie. I do have the others as well. Next is Satan's Blade, the Arrow release, pretty good, not too bad. Slasher movie. Next up is, oh no, I'm dropping them everywhere now, Matt. Well done. Put that one back in. Next up is Savage Street, so it's Linda Blair from The Exorcist. Good movie. Don't have the Arrow release, I didn't get it in time, so I had to get a different version of it, but it's uncut, worth having. Next up is Sculpt. I was never a massive fan of this. I didn't bother to upgrade it on the Blu, so I just was happy with the DVD. It's very old and outdated now, so I didn't bother with that one. Next up is a movie called Scarecrows, out on the UK Blu-ray. Not too bad. Now I'm going to have to hurry up a little bit now because of the length of time I have. Next up is Silent Night, Deadly Night, Arrow DVD. Yeah, an okay movie. One of the Christmas ones. It's not a bad one. Next up is Slaughterhouse on the Slasher Collection, 88. Another good movie. He's worth having too. Next up, Slaughter High on another Arrow DVD. Quite a lot of Arrows today. But it's a slasher movie with Caroline Munro in that. Is well worth having. Next up is another Arrow. Look, this is the UK Blu-ray for The Slayer. Well worth having in the collection. That's why I got it. Next up is Sleepaway Camp. A definite for anybody's collection. This is the US Blu-ray I picked up when I was in the States. A definite one to have on the list. Well, good movie. Next up is Sleepaway Camp 2. Another good one. Slasher sort of one. Good one. Not as good as the first, but still a fun movie. And then you got Sleepaway Camp 3. Which is still the same thing on a camp. Still worth having. Probably not as good as, like I said, not as good as the first one, but a fun movie to have. And it's good to have all three of them. Next up is David Cronenberg's Shivers. My favourite movie of his. This is the Arrow Blu-ray release. Definitely well worth having for Shivers. One of my favourites. Next up is Splatter University on the 88 Slasher Collection. A fun sort of slasher one. That's not too bad. He's worth having. Next up is Stage Fright. Great movie. Some good gore in this one. This is the DVD. I wouldn't mind a Blu-ray of this. But he's worth having. Next up, Street Trash on the Arrow label. Another good one, well worth having. That's just the DVD. Next up, Strip Nude for Your Killer, Blue Underground, released American DVD. An okay movie, worth having. Next up is Shogun Assassin, martial arts sort of one, swords and that. Lots of people getting chopped up. Well worth having. This is the UK Blu-ray, so he's worth having. And last but not least is Slumber Party Massacre. An okay movie. That's all I've got time for today, so I'm going to stop there. Thanks for watching, and I will carry on where I left off next time.